Up. Right here. Can you lie down? Down.
Ready, set, go.
Over. Over. Here. Over. Over. Yes. Yes.
Number one, that was in the corner.
House. Over. Here. Over. Here. Over.
45 seconds.
Squib. Over. Squib. Catch. Catch. Yes. House. Catch.
There we go.
Yes. Up.
That's number two.
House. Over. Over.
30 seconds.
Here. Over. Yes. Squib. Catch. Yes. House. Over. Over. Yes. Here.
15 seconds.
Over. Yes.
Still got the red one right there.
10.
Yes. Up. Here.
4.
Mine. House. Over.
5.
Yes.
4. 3. 2. 1. Time.
Good man, Epi.
9 seconds remaining.
Yeah. Good man, Epi. Yeah.
Brother versus brother from the same zone.
Ready, set, go.
Snowman. Blue. Sweet spot. Red.
45 seconds.
Yeah.
Out.
30 seconds.
Check.
Spaced out.
15 seconds.
Rob, you might want to move.
10.
Cherry.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Time.
Nope.
Ready, set, go.
Snowman. Blue. Sweet spot. Red.
45 seconds.
Cherry.
30 seconds.
Blue. Sweet spot. Let's see, we don't have a language rule on this.
15 seconds.
Pink.
10,
Red and cherry.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Time.
And the sweet spot. Nice work, boy.
Ready, set, go.
Snowman. Blue. Sweet spot. And that's red.
45 seconds.
Cherry.
30 seconds.
Go, go, go. Turn flip. Good. House. Go, go, go. House. Yes, house. Up, up, up. House. There. Yes. Good. Good. House. Through. Ouse. Yes. Badass. Go, go, go. Through and flip. Good. Ouse. Go, go, go. Ouse. Yes, ouse. Up, up, up. Ouse. Good. Right there. Yes, good. 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 Ouse. Through. Yes, ouse. Yes. Badass. Hey, hey, how's it going? I hope I have audio. I'm showing audio. I've had some technical difficulties over the last little bit. Let me know, chat. Sagepaw, you seem to be Chatty Cathy again. Why don't you sound off? Let me know if I have some audio. Welcome to the show. Ron Watson, Positive Vibe, host of DiscDog Weekly, and host of DiscDog.Live. Wow, nice hair, Ron. That's awesome. Looks like it's sticking up pretty good. So, but yeah, just hanging out. We had Anu, good to see you. We had easy Cheetah, easy. The USDDN finals this last weekend. They were really awesome. I live streamed them. Maybe I'll show some of the live stream. Maybe we'll do a couple of the players or something. Totally have that available. Epi and I didn't do so well. Had a leaky Vittles vault here apparently, and it was leaking little kibbles. And Epi was like sucking them right out of the box for who knows how long. And he was like a fatty. He couldn't run. He was just chock full of food, and he was like a end table on his little tiny spindly legs. So I recognized it rather early in our round, and yeah. So we didn't do super well. It was fun. We didn't look terrible or anything, but it was a little. It wasn't the way that I wanted to play for sure. That said, oops, wrong camera, boom. That said, Andrew and Dre played quite well, which was pretty awesome. And a bunch of other people played pretty well. So it was super cool to see people. All right. So yeah, those were the head judges, Tracy Custer, Danielle O'Neill, Barb Champagne, and there was somebody else, and I can't remember. That's terrible. I can't remember who. Taylor Justice. Taylor, yeah, Taylor. So the event went really well. Andrew won, Ahan won, and he won both the Super Open and the Super Pro, which was pretty cool. Congratulations to Andrew, and he did it on a wooden leg. You didn't know that guy had a wooden leg, did you? And I'll pull up that video, and we'll kind of go through it. At least show Andrew's round while we're talking about it. It'll just take me a moment to figure out which one it is. Like, I have the whole live stream here. Just I want to be careful that I yep, we got Chuck and Andrew. Andrew's right here, so I'm just getting the time that you can hear that. All right. So 9:15. All right. So I'll pull this in to a what camera? New scene. So I will pull this into the new scene. Maybe. Maybe.
Go, Dr. Dre!
This is Dre. I'm just going to jump up to Andrew. Right? That would be my guess, right? Nalu isn't fat today, right?
And Chuck and Chica, you are on deck, and that is everybody for
Epi was a little sausage the whole weekend. Nalu is Epic's brother.
Yep.
Andrew and Nalu here. They got
Right. Run power, cat. Run power.
at the same time that Epi and I got together.
Go run tornadoes.
We
So Andrew has a torn meniscus. Did that happen on Friday?
Everybody just
He was so
Everybody just
gimpy
kinda pushed him
yesterday,
into it.
and
He pushed
he
him
looks
right
a
into
little
it.
better today. But he threw down a nasty round yesterday on one leg.
we were in the same hotel room when they came in. It was awesome. But we'll watch Andrew's round here and see what's going on, and then I'll get prepared to try and talk about this dog troubleshooting and.
Yeah, I got a broken vittle vault, and there's like one
Telling your
kibble
story, yeah.
falling out, and he's been like sucking on that for a couple weeks.
Yeah,
So
after
it
his
is
round.
my fault, but he's been a little scammer as well. So Andrew, he re-injured it on Friday, so he was really gimpy yesterday.
So Andrew re-injured his knee on Friday.
Yep, still my job.
Sequence. You know, you can really see Andrew trying to deliver these throws to the dog for the leaping catch. Right? He reads the dog and makes the throw. That's a really nice skill. Young players should be trying to emulate that skill. The sequence into the
Fish
shuffle,
move. Go run tornado.
I think is pretty awesome, right? Most of the time a shuffle is a pretty static entry, and then like a whip it out there, get rid of it kind of thing at the finish. Having
Stop faking it, Andrew.
that multiple right in the middle of your.
Come on, Andrew. There you go.
Pretty cool.
I think it's funny.
All right. So, uh-oh.
30 seconds.
There we go. Yeah, and yesterday he was super gimpy.
With that bad leg in those moves.
Oh, he does some foot brushes here too, by the way. And if you've ever done foot brushes with a bum knee, they are brutal.
Yeah,
They are completely
excellent.
brutal. So many catches.
Awesome.
Yes, he had many
All right,
catches.
Andrew and Nalu, Epi's probably his big brother, I think. He might be his little brother though. Who knows? I don't know who was first. But Epi and I don't know who was first. But Epi and Nalu are brothers. Ferris is also Ferris Faley is a brother, and Vinny Valentino. All right. So Andrew and Nalu, Epi's little brother, big brother, something like that. USCDN national champions. Super excited, super proud of them. Go Andrew, go Ahan. So yeah, foot brush, pretty cool. Foot brush is a cool move. It does really hurt though when you have a bad knee. I'm not kidding. When he did it, I was like, oh gosh. That is painful. Without a doubt, super painful to have that, to try and make that move. So, yep, April did well, Marty did well. She took 5th, I think, in Super Pro Toss and Fetch with Lanai McNabb, one of Maggie Elliott's McNabbs, a superstar gamer.
So yeah, and Stavit Budin was there from Israel. That was pretty awesome. We didn't expect, I didn't expect her there. She hit me up on Thursday night and was like, "Hey, let's hang out." And so that was awesome. We got to hang out with Stabby, and Abby Klein was there, and Sam. So it was pretty awesome. Pretty sweet time. There's a playlist here. Let me go ahead and link that, and then we'll get off the USDDN recap stuff. Let me see here. Where do I want to do that? I should not be playing my stream right now while I'm streaming. Playlists. Oh, dumbass. Here's the link to the playlist. pvbyme.me/USDDN 2021. That should be the playlist. Can somebody confirm that for me? And make sure it's a public playlist too. I can get to the playlist, so there we go. Somebody could confirm that. That would be awesome. Yeah. So what's going on, chat? We got a few people here. I see Anu and Sagepaw and a couple people who have not sounded off yet. Jump in to the conversation, or help make it a conversation. So what I'm looking to do tonight is just kind of talk about problem solving and how we think about what is happening on the field and how we think it works, right? If somebody wants to come in and talk or call in and talk to me about that, that would be terrific. I would much rather talk to someone about it than try to do a soliloquy on it in a dissertation. I am at Canine Disc on Skype, so Skype in at Canine Disc. Oops, that's probably not typing in there, is it? Nope. Skype in at Canine Disc is my username. So if you get on Skype and call in. Oh, you know what else we could do? Hang on, let me turn on interview mode, and we can see if we can break the internet, or not the internet, but the live stream. Let me see here. New interview settings. This is going to take just a moment, guys. So, DiscDog.Live. Hey, easy, Cheetah. I don't know what you're tearing up. Epi, don't eat the box. Don't eat the box, Epi. Why would you do that? Why would you do that? All right, and then dark mode. Whoops. Oh, gosh, I'm sorry, guys. Well, this is what happens, though. You guys got to chat. Keep me engaged, or I'm going to mess around with this shit. One more moment. Live. And we have the light. And now guest at that'll work. So here we go. If you go here, you can call in on interview mode, and we can hang out. And then you don't need Skype. So you can Skype in at Canine Disc or go to that link right there, that guestspot.live. Ooh, that's a hideous URL. Can I change that? I probably can't now. You know what? I'm probably going to change it. Nah, whatever. We'll do that. All right. So, Disc Dog problem solving. I don't know. Let me see. I don't know how I want to start this. So, when we are working with our dogs, we tend to overestimate the actual control that we have over the dog. So we overestimate our control over the situation and the dog, or we mistake constraints that we place upon the dog or the situation with control. Okay? What's the difference between constraints and control? If I control something, I can set it at a level, at a particular level. If I constrain something, I can keep it from going any further than this, right? I can keep it within a range, or I can keep it, let's say, out of that level, right? So control and constraints are not the same thing, right? So we put constraints on something, we leash it, right? We don't completely control it. We just have really reduced the number of things that can happen that we don't want to have happen, right? So we constrain the situation. And so I think what happens a lot of times is we're doing things on the field with our dog and we're playing Frisbee and we're doing this stuff, right? And we think that we're in control of it, right? When in reality, we're really just, we're performing within the constraints that allow it to work. Let me give you an example. The drop. The number of people who come to me and tell me that they have the drop on cue is probably 85% of people, right? So 85% of people hit me up and I ask if they have drop on cue and they say yes. 85% say yes. And then I ask them what the cue is, right? And sometimes they'll be honest and just say, well, the dog drops whenever, when he knows it's time. And so that's a situation where you have constraints on the behavior, right? I can influence, I can kind of make it happen, right? But if the dog is doing it where he wants or when he or she thinks it's correct, then you don't have a drop, right? You just don't have one. You don't control the drop, right? So if we think we control the drop and it just so happens that the dog drops wherever, or I always cue it at the distance where the dog is likely to drop, right? We have unintentional cues a lot of times that we send to the dogs that fool us into thinking we control the behavior, right? So one of the things, I was doing this gig in Poland and I was working this dog and the dog didn't drop. And so I go through it, and I'm using pust, right? That's Polish for drop, right? You know, pust. It was cool. I don't very often use other people's cues, but I thought pust was pretty cool, right? Anyway, so I'm working the dog, and saying pust, teeth come off, yes, I'm making the throw, he catches, yes, great job, pust, teeth come off, yes, boom, I make the throw, right? I say pust, I bend down and pick up the disc, the teeth come off, I make the throw. I'm walking around out there, walking from drop disc to drop disc on like throws 10 through 12 maybe. Pust, yes, making the throw, bending down, or I'm sorry, saying pust, bending down, picking it up, teeth come off, I make the throw, right? It's awesome, I got it. And then I'm wrapping it up with this kind of smug look on my face and this kind of, you know, yeah, I'm a badass feeling in my head. And the dog is running back to me, and I bent down to pick up a disc, and that fucker dropped, right? So I was out there playing with him, fixing the drop, making the drop happen, and it was happening. I thought it was my verbal cue that was making it happen, and I was completely fooled into that. In reality, it was me bending down and picking up the disc. So right after that, I kind of looked over and told everyone, I was like, did anybody see what the drop cue here is? And everyone was like, it's pust, obviously, right? And I made the throw, and I dropped a disc on the ground, and I waited for the dog to come running back, and I bent down to pick it up, and the dog spit the disc. And so in that situation, I literally thought that I was in control of the drop with my verbal. But I really just constrained the drop with my actions that were not my cue, that I didn't even know I was really doing, right? And so much of our problem with problem solving is that we're not aware of that distinction between constraints and control, right? So we think we got it licked, I know it, and then in reality it was me bending down to pick up the disc rather than my verbal cue as I thought. And you can see that over and over again in all kinds of dog training applications. That's rather important. We really don't have control over lots of things. And we certainly don't have control over the game of Frisbee, right? We have the control over a certain trick. We have control over a sequence that we're really good at, I would say. A lot of times we do, you know, if we've done a good job foundationally. But I think that's about where it ends as far as like real controls go. As soon as I make a 30-yard throw or a 20-yard throw or a 15-yard throw, right? The situation is out of my hands, literally. As soon as I let that 15-yard throw go, the wind is in play. My dog's catch versus miss is in play. The placement of my disc is in play. Crowd response is in play, let's say. I don't know, man. A whole shitload of other things are in play. My point is that we're not in control of all of those things. And all of those things can influence what's happening on the field. And we can't predict 100%. Dude, you guys, man, super funny. Come on, switch cameras. Oh, what? Why did that? Oh, wait a minute. That's why. I was hitting 3. Okay. Shit, where was I? Oh, son of a pup. Okay, dude, you're not going to tear that apart right on screen. I'm sorry. Okay, so we own the behavior. We control the behavior at a trick level.
If we're really good, we control the behavior at a sequence level. As soon as we go to the routine level, right, or the game, I'd rather use the game than the routine, right? A routine, the goal of the routine is to make it an ordered system. What I'm talking about here is we're talking about ordered systems. I control this, right? That's an ordered system. I can predict it. If I do this, that happens, right? It's like a math problem. It's ordered. It's always that way. It's like a machine, right? An unordered system, right? An unordered system only has constraints, and it's not predictable. It's only predictable after the fact. After we've done it, we can look back and reconstruct it and figure out what was happening, right? But while we're in it, we can't really predict it, right? There are probabilities, there are likelihoods, yep, but it's not owned and 100% predictable. If it were owned and 100% predictable, it would be in the ordered side, right? And what I'm suggesting is because of the variability in placement, in movement, in wind, in situations, I don't think we have complete control. I don't think the game of freestyle disc can be an ordered system. And hopefully that makes sense. So hopefully you guys are following me here, and I seem to be kicking everyone off the stream, so it must not be as interesting as I think it is. I happen to think it's super interesting, and it's super critical, right? Super critical that we understand what we control and what we don't control. If we make a mistake and assume that we control something that's not controlled, and it happens all the time in dog training, guys. The number of times people think they have a skill and it's unidimensional, one-dimensional, or it's only doable within certain situations, and we think we got it. I mean, dude, that's dog training. Like, and it's a mistake in dog training all the time. So, ordered systems versus unordered systems. There's a different way to respond within them, right? When people ask me how to play Frisbee, they always want an answer, right? They always want an answer for any problem or how to play Frisbee, right? Draw me the roadmap to play Frisbee with my dog. You get that a lot. And I can't do it, right? I can't do it because every time, because your dog acts in a particular way, you act in a particular way, and your team will act in a particular way. That chemical composition of you and the dog will have its own kind of signature, right? And because of the interaction between human personality types, human athlete types, human organizational types, right? And dogs, types of dog, whether it's drive, build, size, right? As soon as handler gets complicated with lots of attributes, dog gets complicated with lots of attributes, and those two things come together in a team. And so we have like 3 layers of this mixing, and you just can't predict it, right? I know one of 3 things are going to happen within what you're doing, Sagepaw, right? Like I'm watching you and I'm like, yeah, this is going, I see that you're this kind of player, you have this kind of dog, you're doing these things, right? Within this setup, one of 3 or 4 things is going to happen. And I'm usually right, right? But I can't predict which one it will be, right? And then I could be completely wrong, right? You know, that prediction might not pan out at all. For me to come in and give you one answer, I can't do that. Literally can't be done, right? There is no best practice for an unordered system. Best practices, the answer is
only good for like recipes, right? Where you say, I'm going to put 3 tablespoons of this, 1 tablespoon of that, crack an egg, half a thing of milk, 25 minutes on boil, done deal, right? That's it. And that is a simple ordered system. And we can have best practices within that system. If we're in a restaurant, right? If we're in a restaurant and there are 20 cooks and there are 30 dishes, we can still have recipes, right? But those recipes are not going to have best practices necessarily. There's going to be, or if every recipe or if every dish had its own best practice, you would need 30 workstations or 30 different people to do that. But at the restaurant level, if we do good practices, use the follow the directions exactly, right? Yeah, okay, cook it with love, right? When all else fails, cook it with love. Good heuristic, right? When all else fails, cook it with love. But like immediately clean up afterward. They would be things that aren't the good practices, and the things that need to be focused on within the restaurant is different than building a single dish, right? And they need to be flexible because we can't make every chef do it exactly the same. So we have clean up after yourself, store the ingredients together, right? Particular food cutting stations, perhaps, right? But we're talking about a bunch of ways we can go after skinning this cat. So when it gets complicated, we need multiple criteria, and we need multiple good practices to fall back on, right? And this really resonates with dog training. The rules we have: put a cookie on it. Better never than late. Geez, what are some dog training maxims? That's terrible. Mark for behavior, reward for position. Build desire before duration, desire before difficulty, desire before distraction, desire before distance, right? All of those are good practices. And when we confront a problem, we want a complex problem or a complicated problem that we don't really understand. We want to be able to throw good practices at it, right? If we only have a best practice and it fails, we're fucked. If we only have a single best practice and it fails, which it's likely to do in a complex situation, because I didn't realize I was bending down and picking up the disc, right? I was bending down and picking up the disc and the dog was dropping on that cue. I didn't realize that. So my whole understanding of my control in the situation is bunk, right? That's going to fall apart right away. It's going to fall apart right away. And when it does, I need to be prepared. I need to see it, and then I need to go and head it off at the pass with good practices, with standard good practices. Does that make sense? Does anybody following me? Sage Paw, Anu, are you still here? All right, so I'm gonna let me see. I'm gonna play a video real quick. I'm gonna throw up a video real quick and kind of get my wits about me, and see if I can't step into this next piece of the conversation well. So I'm gonna show you guys epic oppositional feeding, I think, we'll take a look at this. I'll get my thoughts together, and we'll talk about how this ordered versus unordered system is impacting like single tricks and sequences. So here we go. Bang. Epi, come on over here. Can you lie down? Awesome. Hey everybody, how's it going? Ron Watson, Positive Vibe, host of DiscDogger Weekly. I got Epi out here, gonna do some jakey and fakey stuff. I'm gonna warm up with some oppositional feeding. Check it out. You ready? Let's do it. Ready? Here we go. Makai, get out. Yes. Ouse. Catch. Now, one of the things, you see him turn in the direction he's going. Ouse. Yes. I want to fix that. I want to throw against ouse his grain. There. So do you see how sharp that turnaround is? Ouse. Catch. See how sharp that is? That's important when it comes to oppositional feeding. So ouse. If I throw that way, he's got that nice arcing turn. That's not what I want to do. I want to actually counter his movement. All right, so we're going to work on oppositional feeding with King. Makai, catch. I'll throw him out here. Ouse, yes. And I'm going to throw it against his motion. Oh, look at you, King. Ouse. And I'll throw it against his motion. You can see that real sharp turning around. What I don't want to do, ouse, is throw it that way. You see how that's a wide arcing movement? Oh, what happened? Ouse. I want to directly counter his movement. Yes, good man, ouse. Don't want him just to come in and run around and turn around and like run a circle. I want him actually to reverse field. Jakey twist. Yes, good. Ouse. Wait. Jakey spin. Yes, good. Ouse. Wait. Jakey twist. Oh, that was good. My bad. That was a terrible throw. Ready? Wait. Jakey spin. Yes. Oh. Yes. Yeah. Yeah, that's it. That's it. So the other day when I was doing this, my feet were all funky. Ouse. I want to make sure that I'm pushing this way with my body on the jakey twist, jakey twist. Yes, good. And then I'm pushing this way, jakey spin.
That's excellent, Sage Paw.
Oh, ouse. Wait, jakey spin.
Excellent.
Yes, on that one. Good work, ouse. Helly in. Yes, ouse. Helly out. Yes, good, ouse. Helly in, good, ouse. Helly out, yes, good, ouse. Squib, good. Helly in, yes, good work. Ouse, good. Helly in, yes, ouse. Helly out, yes, good, ouse. Wait right there, helly in. Good man, yeah, awesome. Go to dog stuff. Whoa. All right, all right. So, oppositional feeding is a really terrific problem-solving tool. It solves a bunch of problems at once. It's a best practice for gaining distance on your drop with a prompt switch. It's what we use it for. It's pretty functional, about as close as we can come to a best practice to get distance on a drop, right? How we employ it depends on how the dog responds. So actually how we work it, we massage the rules depending on how the dog responds within that best practice, which makes it a little funky, makes it hard, right? It's a good practice for slowing the dog down, right? Dog that runs too fast, approaches you too fast, bum rushes the handler, beats the shit out of the handler, right? When the dog comes in, it's a very good practice to keep the dog from bum rushing you. And Sage Paw worked on this with her dog the other day. Pretty awesome. And funny, your feet are always funky. What is a swift if not a spin or twist? I don't know what a swift is. A squib? A squib is a rear cross. But back to this oppositional feeding thing. Oppositional feeding is a good practice to slow down the dog, right? So that oppositional feeding is a problem-solving skill. It solves several different problems, right, depending on how it's applied. So it can be a best practice for something, and it can be good practices for other things. But I think it's important to realize that the way that we do it when we are trying to do drop is different on a step-by-step basis with like a couple of flavor changes within the rule than how we do oppositional feeding to slow the dog down, right? We can also use oppositional feeding to set the dog up further away from us, right? And so if our dog is crowding us, we can use oppositional feeding to get him to set up 3 yards away rather than half a yard away. And so that idea of oppositional feeding is a tremendous tool. It's very simple. It works on multiple things. Yeah. So with King, when he was coming in initially within that oppositional feeding thing, he was running too fast, right? And so after everyone gets done with being enamored that their dog is super fast, right? And they are trying to get the dog to slow down so you can actually do good work with the dog. A fast dog is not always an easy dog to work, and not always a flexible dog when it comes to doing things that we want to do, right? So lots of dogs are running too fast, and people want to say he just likes to run too fast. He just runs too fast. He won't slow down, right? And that becomes a root problem, right? So the dog is going too fast. But why is the dog going too fast? And as soon as we ask that, we realize that he won't drop. He doesn't like this. He doesn't like that. That's where we kind of go with when we plumb the depths of root problems within Frisbee, right? And each of those has several potential causes, right? They're not root problems at all. The dog that runs too fast is being fed discs too frequently and is having discs thrown too far away from them. The dog that's running too fast is not taking a trigger, is not respecting their handler's movement and pressure. The dog that is running too fast has over pursuit issues. I mean, we can go 4, 5, 7 more things if I were to put some thought into it. My point is that more often than not, what we tend to describe as root problems is several things combined to make that problem, and we should start to tear them apart and try and figure out what the connections are, or what the things are that are working together to create that problem. There are no root problems. There are like root balls of problems. They're a mess. They're a mess. And a lot of times solving just one of the problems can make it work properly. So there are no root problems. King's speed problem that I was using oppositional feeding to solve is a combination of the way I allow him to play, right? The patterns and pace and distance of play that he's played historically, right? That's not a root problem. That's just how he does it, right? If your dog won't drop, that's not a root problem, right? I mean, that's a problem, but it's not a root problem. It's not like it's happening for some other reason. Bang. It's happening for some other reason. And we tend to just throw it on the root problem and then sweep it under the rug or throw it in the closet and play our freestyle game without that part of the game being there. And I can illustrate that with people who are not cueing the drop at a distance and they're, disc managing like banshees, having to run 30 yards this way and 30 yards that way because the dog drops immediately. You can see it with people who are playing with dogs who don't drop. The dog comes all the way in and they have to stop every time, or they have to do lots of gives and do a lot of creative giving so that they can play with their dog in some kind of flow. That drop issue, big one, but not a root problem, right? That drop in most of our root problems, he doesn't like that, is not because he doesn't like that. It's because it wasn't done properly, the cookie wasn't good enough, your position wasn't right? There are a host of reasons that those things are happening. They're not really root problems. All right, so within ordered systems, let's say I'm trying to do this sequence, I know how to do all the shit, everything's awesome, I run into a problem, right? Do you have expertise in that problem? Yes or no? And if the answer is yes, then you should analyze, right? You should look at the problem, analyze it, and then respond. So if you have expertise in what you're talking about, you should sense what's happening, you should analyze it, and then you should respond, right? And so that's first. And you know what everybody does when they step up to a problem? They do it. They do it, right? And they do it with the intent to do it. Yeah, of course I've never done this before. I'm going to do it, right? And you're doing it with a dog and a disc. It's really hard. That's not fair. It's not a good way to set yourself up for success, right? If you don't have expertise, right? If you don't have expertise, then, and you can't consult an expert, right? If you don't have expertise, consult an expert, right? Or consult expert information, right? So sense the problem, let experts analyze for you, or sift through expert analysis, and then respond. And then after you respond, you'll amplify the response, continue it, or dampen it, or select something else because that didn't work. But you have to give it a shot, and you have to have watched it or observed it, right? Like not just done it. You know what I'm saying? You have to kind of let it happen with you being aware of it. And then you have to do some analysis, right? If it's a super simple thing, super simple, like a sit behavior, we'll sense what's happening, we'll categorize what is going on, right? And then we'll respond. So the dog walks up and doesn't sit. Ooh, I see that the dog is not sitting. Well, Let me lean forward a hair and pull out a cookie, little J stroke. His ass hits the ground. Yes, I pay the dog, right? That's a best practice. And what I've done is I categorized his non-response, and I just responded because it's super, super simple. If we're doing something that we're not very good at or is complicated, multiple steps, positions involved, speed, maybe difficult disc placement, right? We can't really categorize it because there are too many buckets to fill with a category, right? So what we do instead is we analyze it, right? We take a look at what's happening, and then we craft our response, right? But that requires expertise, right? Because it's complicated. You know? So in the ordered space, the first thing that we do, if we have control over the situation and we can predict the results, the first thing that we do is to sense, right? Like to open up our senses and try and get a look around. And then we attempt to either categorize or analyze to figure out what's happening, right? To put it into our expertise, to put it into a category or into a area of expertise, right? And then we respond. And if we can do that, we're going to have a solution to our problem, right? Or we're going to have control over the situation, let's say. It doesn't have to be necessarily a problem. If, on the other hand, we're in an unordered space, which is where I think freestyle takes place, I do not think we can predict with 100% mathematical precision what's going to happen. There are too many moving parts. The dog, the handler, and the team are all kind of chaotic little entities that have impact. Oh, and the wind, the conditions in the environment also change everything, right? When we can't predict what we're doing or what will happen, or we're not sure what we're doing, right? What we want to do first is to probe the situation. Then we sense, then we respond, right? So we probe the situation. We do something that is safe to fail. This couldn't hurt. Eye contact. Yes, bite. Wow, that was great, right? That worked really well right here. And I'll tell you, that sounds like it's kind of a non sequitur, like it doesn't fit the situation. You would be really surprised. You have a situation where your dog is confused, or you and your dog are confused. Wait for eye contact, yes, offer a bite, and it'll put you right back on track, right back on path. And if it doesn't, you can try another thing. Send out another probe, safe to fail probe, maybe a hand target, right? Sense and respond, right? And then you'll know what attention does. You'll know what targeting does within that situation. And if you do attention, what you'll also have happen is you'll have a fucking wait. Your dog will wait because they're waiting for you to respond with their marker. And so one of the things I think that happens all the time is what I do is I push people into marking the wait. Wait, dogs, yes. And then we throw. And that marker, as soon as I mark, the dog is like, where's my cookie? And they hold. And now I gotta wait, right? And so I learned that by trying it one time, right? And I tried it one time, and what I realized after I tried it, so I probed, I told him to wait, and then when he stopped moving close enough, I marked yes, right? I sensed the response. And the response was that the dog stood there for like 5 seconds, man. And then I responded by making a throw, right? And I responded by continuing to do that and amplifying it. And what wound up happening is my my ability to control the dog in the weight jumped up. It was huge. Huge distinction, huge difference than before. It was simply because I probed. I asked a question of the situation from best and good practices, right? Attention, when all else fails, mark attention, right? And bang, I was right on track, and then I had my weight. So I'm not suggesting that your probe is going to solve the problem, but your probe is going to give you information about what that type of intervention or action will lead to in the future, right? And so when we don't quite know what's going on, we should be trying to figure out what's going on. I do this, what happens? Oh, that happens. Let me try it again. I do this. Ooh, it happened again. That's like a pattern. I should be aware of that. I should know how that works. What happens if I go the other way? Oh, exactly the opposite thing happens. Interesting. Right? And now these probes and this interaction we're having with the situation is providing new emergent information, new emergent understanding. You're learning how things work. And you can't frickin' do that if you're trying to make it happen or if you're trying to control it. You can't learn and control the situation with your dog at the same time. You can't, right? And so I think that idea of controlling complicated situations, right? Controlling our routine. I'm going to control the whole routine as if you could control the wind, right? As if you could control the response of your dog when the disc is tipped off his teeth, right? What happens if the wind takes the disc into the tent, right? If you only have best practice, rehearsed, patterned control over your routine, there is no recovery from going in the tent. Right? But if you have flexible, constrained performance and you're used to constraining performance rather than mandating control or doing everything to ensure that it happens exactly the same way every time, you totally can play Frisbee that way, I think. It just requires a shit ton, like way too much practice on doing the same thing. And I'm not even talking about at the scale of where people who are habitual awesome practicers are in Frisbee. I'm talking about you would probably have to Chinese gymnast. You'd probably have to Chinese gymnast or Chinese acrobat trainers, Chinese acrobat children kind of training to control that. And then you'd never be able to do anything different, right? So, yeah, it's okay to make a mistake. And I do want to interact with you guys on this. I'm really kind of struggling with this. I'm trying to figure out how to talk about it. I have a framework that I want to kind of lay out for problem solving and sense making. This is a sense making framework. Here, I'll show you the framework. It's right there. Okay, that's it. And I want to be able to demonstrate it with some. I want to talk about this problem-solving framework. So, yeah, and I'll give you the skinny here, and you know what? I'll just pull it up, and we'll go full on friggin' geek. I mean, it's only you and me, SagePaw, anyway. So, but I like it that way right now because I'm not really ready to do this. Look out, Epi. Here, let me see. So that's the frame. Oh, I can't. Can I zoom in? No, it won't do it with this shitty thing. All right, hang on. All right, so I'm going to pull this up, and I'm just going to lay it out, and we'll go ahead and dip out SagePaw. I'll probably kill the stream. Maybe I won't kill the stream replay. I don't know. So here. All right, and I don't think I want that one. I think I want. That one's a little too busy. We'll go to that one later. Let me just pull one up real quick. I'm sorry. Do 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 do. Nope. Oh gosh darn it. I don't have the one that I want. Give me one sec. This one is the one that I want. Let me see, can I just drop it in there? And boom. Desktop. Boom. Boom. All right. So where you at, SagePaw? Would you just... Yep. Oh, you're going to go? So check this out. Before you go. So obvious. It's now called clear within the framework, this obvious. And you know what? Screw this. I'm going to share it. Boom. Boom. Do-do-do. And I'm going to screen share it here. So, whatchamacallit. Boom. Is it that one? See, yeah, there we go. All right. So what we have is clear on this side. These are ordered systems. Okay. Wow, that's kind of weird. Let me click that and see what happens. There we go. That's better. So we have ordered systems on this side, and we have unordered systems on this side, right? And clear means it's obvious to everybody. Fucking Captain Obvious, right? So clear would be like sit, right? Sit has a best practice, right? Have some value. J pull a cookie, butt hits the ground, yes, pay, right? That would be a best practice. And anybody who employed that, just that, at all properly, would be able to get their dog to sit, right? Sit, stay, that's a different situation. Sit while walking in, that's a different situation. Now we're up into this complicated area, right? And in the complicated area, it's the same as clear. It's just got more moving parts, right? So within the ordered systems, the first thing we do is we sense, and then we use what we know and understand to either categorize or analyze so we can get the best practice response or select a good practice response, right? And the best practices are only possible within the simplest of behaviors. There's only one answer. Sit. Something like sit is the type of behavior that has one answer. You know what I mean? But as soon as we get complicated, we have a shit ton of answers. And so now we don't have best practices, we have good practices, right? And what we want to do is we want to take our routine and we want to get it to the point where it is complicated, where we have governing constraints over it, where it is under control, not the semblance of control, but actually under control. And I'm suggesting that nobody's there. Japanese might be there. Yachi and those guys, I think, are there, right? As far as control over the routine. But you want to get to that control area, but you don't want to go all the way to the control complicated domain, right? Because if you're in the controlled complicated domain and something goes wrong, it's easy to fall into chaos. It's easy to fall into chaos. You see this dark line here? If I give the sit cue best practice and it doesn't work, I'm done, because I only have a best practice to work with. And when the best practice doesn't work, you fall into chaos, right? So if we think our routine or a sequence is a clear thing and it's really complicated or even complex, and we get it and it starts to work in the clear, when it breaks, it's going to break immediately and it's going to fall into chaos. When we're up here in complicated, like a sequence that we're pretty good at, right, and it starts to get away from us and we start to have some trouble with it, it'll break slowly and start to fall this way and track this way, right? And it'll slowly go and then it'll break and fall into chaos. Or it'll move over here into the complex area where we don't have constraints, any governing constraints, and we'll have to push it back over there, right? But we want to get it there. I think this place, complex, unordered, is where we're doing all of our work. And what we're doing here, this exaptive is a really neat word, but in other demonstrations of this model, it's emergent. The complex area is where we get new behavior, guys. That's where new things comes from. New things come from places we don't fully understand, right? So we probe, sense, and respond. And when we probe, we watch what happens, we sense it, and we respond. Now we have more knowledge, and we get emergent behavior and emergent practices, so we learn how to do these things. It's really important. So here's what I want to get to before we go, Sage Paw. I have one more thing to do. I'm going to nail these categories. Chaotic. There is no effective constraints on it. Think, I don't know, Jack Russell in a weasel farm. Jack Russell in a mink farm, right? It's not good. It's not good. Nothing good is happening there. When we're in a chaotic environment, the first thing we do is act. It's the very, very first thing we do. We act to impose some force some leverage that we can use to move to the complex to the complex area and get the hell out of chaos. So we act first, then we sense, then we respond. And so depending on which of these modes we're in, When we're in the clear, simple, just a sit, you sense, you categorize it, you figure out, what is this? Oh, this is that sit behavior. It has a best practice. That's the best practice, done, right? Now the dog's running in and we have that happen. It works. Now it's working pretty well. We can move it up into complicated. Let's say the running in and then the sit starts to get a little funky. We sense, we analyze, we respond. Dog's running in. I realize the dog's drifting to my right, right? I analyze it. What's happening here? What could be causing him to go to the right? I look down. My right foot is I'm standing like this. I look down, I'm standing like this, right? This foot is behind me. Dog's running in and going to the right before he sits. Wow, okay, how about I stand square? Dog runs in, sits, bang. I've solved the problem, right? By analyzing what went wrong, right? I didn't categorize it. I didn't say, that's a wrong direction, I do this, right? I analyzed it, and then I took a look around, I saw the answer. Oh, okay, now I respond, it worked. Awesome, I'll continue to do that. That will become a good practice, right? That will totally become a good practice. Anytime my dog's going the wrong way, check my feet. My dog is going this way, I want him to stop, I switch my feet. Bang, good practice, right? We sense, analyze, respond. We have good practices here. In the complex domain, right? Let me get back to here, and 30 more seconds, 60 more seconds, sage paw, and then you can go. In the complex domain, we probe, sense, and respond. We don't know what's happening. Okay, I have some good practices from over here, right? I have some good practices that I'm aware of that are kind of close to this. Let me try one that's not going to give me any problem or break this game. I sense what happens. Did it work? Awesome. If it worked, do it again. If it didn't work, try something else. If it worked too well, tamp it down. If it didn't work well enough, bump it up, right? But here, it's important that we're talking about emergent practices. These are new things, guys. We're developing new things here. And in order to do that, you have to not know what you're doing. You can't learn something while you control it. In order to control it, you must have already learned it. Right? And if we're trying to control it while we're learning it, it ain't gonna work. It's gonna fall into chaos fucking immediately. And I know from personal experience that we're doing this all the time. We're doing this all the time. We're trying to control something that we can't, and we try so hard, masking the problem, and then it falls apart. And then we get all pissed off and say that my dog doesn't do that. If we spent some time probing, sensing, and responding, and accepting the fact that we don't have control over much of our game that exists here in the complex domain, we will fall into chaos less likely. And I got one more thing. Here we go. Exaptive. That word right there. Exaptive. Right? It's like adaptive. To adapt is to change. Exaptive is to change outside of, right? It's a quantum leap, right? Dinosaurs had feathers for sexual display, right? One day a dinosaur falls off a cliff, the feathers in his little, skin folds to display them, he soared a little bit and glided. Couple thousand or a couple hundred millennia later, and all of a sudden we have flight. Those feathers didn't adapt into the tools for flight. That it didn't go like slowly from display, sexual display, courting display, mating ritual. It didn't slowly move from that to flying. It was a courting ritual thing, and then click, the next moment, flight was born. Shittily, of course, right? It didn't work really well. I'm sure they wouldn't want to test it on their own, right? But that's when it started to happen. And then there was a completely new branch of behavior, flying, from that moment on. And so if we get into this complex area and we accept that we don't have control over it, we can then accept new behaviors. We can create that stuff that that hasn't been thought of before, and that's really important. So yeah, totally. So now dogs can fly. Let me see. Oh shit! There was one more thing I wanted to mention before you went, Sage Paw. Let me look at my notes from the other day. Oh, within this, we're looking for, when you're trying to solve problems, you're not going to have a magical solution. It's not going to be a magical pill. It's not going to be magical juice. It's not going to be magical anything. It is going to be a vector, right? So before you get to the goal, you have to start moving that way, all right? And change your goals from the finish, from the destination goal, to how do I get more responses like the one that leads me to my goal. You want to put yourself on a vector. My goal is movement in this direction. And that's a really easy goal to hit. You can hit that goal every day. And when you can hit that goal of movement in that direction every day, you'll be aware of all of the offshoots that can happen when you run into something that might be amazingly cool or might be really important to getting to the goal, right? No, it's not luck. No, you're all right. You can take off, Sage Pod. I wanted you to catch that. And there was one more thing, like a tie it all together thing that I wanted to leave. Oh, safe to fail safe. Here it is. Everyone's trying to put together fail safe routines and performance, right? Fail safe, like the Titanic, right? And it was fail safe until it wasn't, right? Fail safe things are really, really awesome until they break, at which point in time the entire thing breaks. Unsalvageable. A fail-safe system, when it breaks, is unsalvageable. Instead of having a fail-safe system, right, with our dog frisbee, this complex behavior, dog handler, disc, wind, rain, whatever, right? We got all these things. Instead of having a fail-safe system, what we want a safe-to-fail system with early detection. Fail-safe, there's no early detection. It's fail-safe. I don't need to detect anything. This shit runs itself. It's why the fucking Titanic ran into the iceberg. Whether it went down like that, who knows? That's the story. I'm sticking with it, right? Fail-safe. Who gives a shit? We don't need it. This is fail-safe. But if it's safe to fail with early warning monitoring, just paying attention, right? Now now you see it start to fall apart, and it's safe to fail. So you can probe and take steps to stop it from failing early on. So that we want to move to a safe to fail system with early detection. And so that's what I'm going to try and set up over the next little bit, Sage Paw. I'm going to keep going on this, okay, so what I said was we want a safe to fail system, not a fail safe system. Safe to fail gives us flexibility. Fail safe is awesome, but we don't monitor it because it doesn't fail. And then when it does fail, it breaks the whole system. If we have safe to fail, like our whole game is kind of built, so it's kind of safe to fail. You know, I got some flexibility in here, right? If it's safe to fail, then we need to be on the lookout for weakness within the game, right? And so we'll pay attention and we'll watch and we'll make sure things don't fall apart. And when they start to, we'll have the flexibility, because it's safe to fail, right? To probe, sense, and respond, and see how we're going to solve this problem, or how our solutions are working to solve the problem, right? Safe to fail gives us a shit ton of freedom. So I wanted to mention that, and like I said, don't sweat it digging out of here, Sage Paw. I appreciate you hanging out for sure. But I am going to be hitting on this sense-making framework for a long time. This little thing here, I can explain how I make decisions in the complex domain of dog training and dog frisbee. I've seen a bunch of these frameworks, right? And I like them. They're neat, right? They're neat to geek out on. And they're mind-opening a little bit. Six Sigma, known knowns and unknown unknowns, that Donald Rumsfeld gobbledygook, right? It's actually really important shit, right? But most of those frameworks, sense-making frameworks or models, right? They seek to impose control, right? And they're not very open-ended, right? This is called the Cynefin framework. I will, it's really awesome. This can be given to children. Whether we know it or not, when we're successful, we're doing this, right? Or this model represents many of the successful processes, tactics we can use. I'm not saying it's the only way to do it. I'm not saying it's perfect or anything. But it is able to explain my friggin' border collie shit flowchart, which is ridiculous. Border collie shit flowchart it's really crazy. And I now know how it works. So I'm going to go ahead and run through this with a bit of a different thing. More information, a little messier, a little more interesting as well. So, okay, down here we have simple, which is also clear. It's now called clear. They changed that to clear so it could all be C's. Disorder is now confused within the new models, just so you know. So simple, things that are simple. 1 + 1 = 2, right? Completely mathematical. We sense it, we categorize it. Oh, I need to put this in a, I'm sorry, hang on, give me 1 sec. You guys need to see my cursor. Cynefin, boom, boom, boom. Oh, come on, here we go. Boom.
All right. So you guys can see my cursor now, right? Yes, no? Whoops. No. Oh, that's because that's on top. All right. So now you can see my cursor, right? Yeah. Ah. Those are the videos of the thing, by the way. All right. So, you see the cursor now? All right. So in the simple dealio, right? Within the simple domain, which is clear now, we have sense the situation, categorize the situation into a known bucket, respond with a well-known solution. The number one solution way, best practice, 1 + 1 = 2, nice, bang. It's complete control or, complete constraints over that whole thing, right? And that is pretty cool. It's pretty cool, right? And we want everything to work like that. As a human being, we really want everything to work like that. That would be terrific. Give me the answer, right? I look at it. I know exactly what it is. I put it in the bucket, and then I respond, right? The end. Just give me the answer. That's all I want. And things like that can be thought of in that simple domain, and you don't need to think about them too much. But keep in mind, if sometime this doesn't wind up working, or you are actually in the complex space and it just happens to be working out for you, you will immediately fall into confusion and chaos. There's a cliff here that's going to fall into confusion and chaos, right? So, in the complicated domain, where we have all of these things happening, right? A bunch of things happening at once, or a long series of events, right? We can predict the future, but it's very difficult and it requires a lot of analysis, right? And experience or knowledge, right? So what we do here is we sense the problem, then we analyze the problem and potential solutions, consult an expert, maybe. We respond with a plan, a blueprint of good practices, right? And this would be awesome if this is where our Frisbee freestyle should be, right? If our Frisbee freestyle is here, you're awesome. You're perfect. The battle is to keep it here, is to keep our performance stuff here, right? We want our performance stuff here to work and be seamless and work together like clockwork. And then we want to come over here into the complex domain and learn new shit, or fix our complicated shit that's kind of fallen apart. If we don't catch the complicated shit that's falling apart here with an early warning, if we don't catch it in this complex domain, it's going to fall into chaos. And once it falls into chaos, we're going to have some trouble, right? In the complex domain, we don't know what's happening. We can't predict what's going to happen, right? There are no good answers. The path will be created with every step. It's not get to the goal anymore. Now it's take a step, figure out where we are. Take a step, figure out where we are, right? And this is my favorite one. These are wicked problems, by the way, problems we don't quite understand or that have too many complex variables. And within complex is the art of learning how to play, right? And this is about emerging practices, right? Emerging practices.
We want to probe to gather knowledge, experiment, evaluate, repeat, experiment, evaluate, etc. Right? Chaos. Act. First thing we need to do if we're in chaos, really trust your instinct, get out of the immediate danger zone. How to act when all hell breaks loose. Once out of danger, immediate danger zone, assess the situation, determine the next steps. Respond, take action to move your problem to another domain, preferably not the simple domain. Don't move it over here to something super rigid, because if it doesn't work, you're going to fall right back into chaos, right? I would suggest moving up into here and try and get your shit together and get over here, right? But get here first so you can have some freedom to figure out what's happening. But let me see what else we got over here. Different situations require different ways of navigating. Yeah, this is really neat shit, isn't it? Yeah, I'm so happy I fell across it. And again, I can't tell you how I now know how I make my decisions, and I'm going to be able to help you guys get to a point where you're making good decisions that solve problems rather than squashing bugs, right? Constant bug squashing in when you try to control the complex domain and throw it into complicated. There's just bugs all the time. All the time there's going to be a new bug, right? Better off to slide over in the complex domain, accept that there are bugs, do some safe to fail experiments to eliminate the bugs, and then throw it back over into the complex ordered domain where we can control it and we can expect control from it sometime later. Here's some things. It's good to know. If you don't know where you are, if you feel lost in the woods, you are in disorder. You are in that center area, right? So if you don't know where you are, that's where you are. You don't want to be there a whole long time, but you can be there without knowing, right? Your job is to figure out, gather information, identify the domain, move on. When you believe all is simple, everything is ordered, past success makes me invulnerable to future failure. Think again. Before you know it, the chaotic domain grabs you by the throat and drags you into a crisis. This simple cliff here, right there, this is a cliff. When the simple thing fails, it's over. It's over. You're in chaos. If you don't know where you are, assume you're in complex and probe, sense, and respond. Use your experience to process the response and decide whether you want to continue to go that way or try something else. All right? Yeah, and this just gets cooler and cooler too, because yeah. Anyway, so cool. Let me see. Anything else I want to show here? Novel practice happens within chaos. Completely new things that never would have happened before. That's what chaos is about, right? Maybe never happen again, right? It might never happen again, right? But within chaos, novel practices happen. So I say this a lot. When you do something, you're working on a sequence and it's awesome, and something weird happens and it was super cool, the weird thing, repeat that super cool thing if you can. That like sprung out of chaos, out of nowhere it happened, a novel thing. And if it's super, super cool, drop everything. Go after that super cool thing. And that will become a novel practice, right? So we can use the chaotic realm, preferably not with your dog in the team like in flow and in freestyle and whatever, but
We can use the chaotic domain, or we can use the chaotic domain to create novel practices or behaviors that are new to us or to anyone, and novel practices and behaviors come out of the chaotic domain. Emergent, like new practices, or growing practices that come out of the thing, happen in the complex domain. And also you can accept within the complex domain. Because you're gathering so much new information, you can take something that you knew about previously, because of your probes, and figure out how to use it differently. And then you can accept that. You can change it to outside of the norm and do something completely different with it. Feathers from courting, mating rituals, to flying. Woo, yeah, right? Exception. Super cool. So I think I'll get off this. And SagePaw, you should probably go. I think you're probably going to be, you said you were going to go earlier. I don't want to make you stay here. But that is the Cynefin framework. It is a sense-making framework created by a guy, David Snowden. And, what is her name? Cynthia F. Kurtz. So I've spent probably 24 hours in the last little bit of watching videos by David Snowden to grab the gist of the framework. I'm going to probably do 24 more in the next week for sure. I'd recommend you guys check it out. Anyone who's in our classes or who wants to get a handle on making complex decisions, solving problems within complex domains, handling networks and such, I would totally look at the Cynefin framework. If you're doing project management or, I don't know, anything, you got to organize a bunch of shit, you got to deal with people. It's a really amazing framework for sense making and network process management. So, all right, done with the Cynefin framework. Although I really am never done with that thing because it is such a, just a completely, it's how I do, it's how I change criteria. It's how I set and reset criteria within my dog training and how I structure my training sessions. And I think it's how all successful dog trainers are doing it. Whether they would use the same words or whatnot, they'd probably take offense at something, right? Someone's always going to take offense at something. But I think the logical framework and the progression is how it works. And so I'm going to be using it quite a bit. So yeah, a few people here. SagePaw is in the house. She should be leaving. She was going to leave earlier, but she's super nice to me. Anyone else who wants to sound off, welcome to do so. Please hit me up in chat or hit me up in on. You're welcome, SagePaw. Hit me up on Skype or at this link here. And yeah, anyone who does want to call in, I would appreciate somebody calling in on the on that link right there, that interview, guestspot.live. That is a really nice way to get on the show. I haven't, it broke the stream last time, so I haven't fixed it, or I haven't tried it since, and I don't know whether or not it's going to work. But yeah, I thought that might be kind of cool. So if any of you guys want to call in,
Whoops. Here, I'll show you what it looks like. So, boom, and pow. If you go to that link, it looks like this. Bang. All right, and it'll ask you to allow it to use your camera. Hello, my name is Not Sure. Right, and now I've joined, and I'm in the green room. Right, and so you can join, and we'll pull you in, and we can talk on video chat. You'll be on the stream. It'd be super cool. You're welcome to do so. Let's see. Yeah, and SagePaw mentioned recording herself to see mistakes. I think that's really awesome, right? I think that's really awesome. But we need to know what's causing the mistakes, right? Like, my dog doesn't line up straight, right? That's a common one. My dog doesn't line up straight, right? So how do you solve that? How do you get your dog to line up straight, right? I can think of several good practices, none of which could be a best practice, none of which would work in every situation. None of a couple of them would like oppose each other. They would work against each other, so it would kind of undo the things that you were fixing. And all of them could become a crutch that needed to be used all the time. And so how do we deal with that? How do you get your dog to line up? Right? How do I tell you how to get your dog to line up without knowing you, without knowing the dog, without knowing your dog training history, without knowing your strengths and weaknesses, right? So like, I don't know. It's very helpful to have a sense-making framework that allows me to give you the information to do it yourself. Probe, sense, response. Try this. Look at it. Respond. Did it work? Do it again. Did it work? No? Okay, well, try something else. Why did it work? No. Did it almost work? Kind of. Well, then try something that's similar to it. Safe to fail experiments, right? And the idea that it's safe to fail, and the idea that we're not doing sit and come, and we're not even doing like rally shit. We're not even doing agility shit. We got violations of rules all over the place within our game. And because we have violations of rules all over the place within our game, a lot of things are confusing to dog and handler and team. And we're in that complex zone. Only the best of us at the best of times are in that complicated zone where it's ordered and completely controlled. The best of us at the best of times, I think, is a pretty good way of saying it. Because I think all of us are very rarely there. And the best of us spend some time in that area over there on the right where it's ordered and it's 100% sure or 100% under control. I don't think it happens nearly as often as we think it is. So accepting that and not trying to control it, instead throwing some constraints on it and seeing how we can shift those constraints and develop new ideas, right? Accepting that unsurety, I think that's really important. And so that's what I want to do with this framework. All right. So, I don't know. Anyone else got anything? Anyone want to ask any questions or talk about anything? Coming up on an hour might be a good time to kill it. I don't really have anything to say. I broke, my camera broke. It's the camera I shot the USDDN with this weekend. It broke this weekend. It's what I use for the, yeah, pretty awesome. I got it as part of the Indiegogo project we did for the P-Vibe Life back in 2012 or 2013. It's a really nice camera, and the USB output, or the HDMI output broke, and now I can't put it into my phone. I have to buy a new camera. So yeah, hey, anybody wanna donate? DiscDog.Live, HTTPS, DiscDog.Live. You can super chat there. It'll come up as a super chat, by the way, and the girl will talk. You can leave a message right there. DiscDog.Live. Donations available over there. I'm gonna need them, but yeah, I gotta get a new camera now, and I wanted to kind of kick this Kinevin framework around a little bit. Say hi to you, Sage Paw. Thought I'd see Ace of Hogan too, but yeah, cool. I think I'm gonna go ahead and play us out with something cool. I don't know what yet. Anybody have any requests? Ooh, I should do Kivo Wushu. Do I have Kivo Wushu around here? That would be awesome. All right. That would be awesome, Sage Paw. All right. Oh, no Kivo Wushu. Oh, what a bummer. This really cool video. I'm sure I have it. I have a shit ton of hard drives. Oh well, no Kivo Wushu. I'll find something else. Staker set point drill. We beat that one to death. Basic body roll. Weight versus back stall. Blind throws. Food bowl dog catch. Whoa, what was that? Oh, Streamlabs updated. All right, premature jumpy. No, we just did that one. Gosh, I've used so many of these already. All right, we'll try this King Air Jam. All right, everybody, see you soon. Thanks a bunch. Stay tuned. Don't be shy. Hit me up on the interview in the live stream sometime, guys. Skype or the interview. Let's talk. Let's hang out. We'll be doing it again sometime soon. Yes, Mackay, get out, catch. Yes, good man. Ouse. Yes, Mackay, get out. Yes, good man. Ouse. Yes, Mackay, get out. There you go. Come on, King, you can do it. Ouse. Yes, Mackay, get out. You got it. Yeah, there we go. Ouse. Yes, Mackay, get out. Yeah, good work. Good work, handsome. Yes, wait.
Yes. Aus. Yes. Yes. Aus. Yes. Wait. What? Oh, aus. Yes. Yes. Good man. Aus. Yes. Wait. Yes. Good man. Great work, King. Great work. Come here, handsome. Aus. Yes. Aus. Yes. Wait. And we'll do it over here. Hey, hey, hey. Come on, Dick. Come here. King. Aus. Yes. Aus. Yes. Wait. Top. Good man. That's it, buddy. Yeah, way to do that. Aus. Yes. Right here. Come on. Aus. Wait. Top. Yes. Good man. Whoa. Where did that come from, handsome? Aus. Yes. Wait. Top. Oh, that wasn't it. Are you ready? Come on. Right there. Top. Good man. Good man. Aus. Catch. Yes. Good man. Aus. Over. Good. Aus. Catch. Yes. Good. Aus. Over. Good man. Aus. Catch. All right, everybody, thanks a bunch for hanging out, and do this again, maybe tomorrow morning, who knows? Never know. Congrats again. Pretty awesome to have a run to NATO as a USDDN champion, and I'd like to thank, oh no, I ruined it. I'd like to thank all of you guys again for hanging out. This show was brought to you by patrons of Positive Vibe and Hero Disc USA. See y'all later.